Bryce, Eddy here. Many of you know me for encouraging self-reliance, knowing why you believe what you believe, and helping people prepare for the challenges of our time. But today I want to talk to you about protecting your household's future, starting with your finances. I believe that America is coming into a golden age of opportunity. Right now, gold has surged past $4,000 an ounce, a historic record. And the biggest names on Wall Street are predicting even more growth into 2025 and 2026, with price targets climbing as high as $6,000. And on top of that, we see global instability and nations working together to undermine America's influence, including information warfare, economic weaponry, political subversion, psychological operations, and social manipulation. That's why I've partnered with American Independence Gold. They're veteran owned and they give back, donating proceeds to Tunnel to Towers in honor of our first responders and heroes. And here's the opportunity for my listeners and supporters. You can receive up to $10,000 in free gold and silver credited to your account with qualifying purchases. That's real, physical gold and silver, tangible assets that can hold in your hands to defend your wealth. Don't wait until it's too late. Go to bryceeddygold.com. That's bryceeddygold.com or call 833-324-4653. Again, that's 833-324-GOLD. Take action today. Protect your family and strengthen your future, because freedom and security aren't handed to us. They're preserved by the choices we make. This is Bryce Eddy. Don't just prepare for tomorrow. Own a piece of it. All right. Welcome to the Bryce Eddy Show. My buddy is back. Siaka, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, sir. How you doing, man? I got to say this. I'm doing well, but the whole sleep thing is being stressed out because it's the holiday season. Mother-in-law's in town, and just a lot is going on. But I'm good.
Oh yeah, man. And having that house full of kids and everything else, man. That's that's gonna get you a little sideways from time to time.
There's a note that happens when the dogs are all riled up. Both babies hit that high note, and the wife is asking you something at the same time. It's like this high pitch that thank the Lord that Jesus came. Let's just say that. So
amen. I have been there. I get it.
Yeah.
So we got a lot to talk about, man. And this is going to be a fun episode because look, I say this with humility, but I sort of take risks early and take backlash. And look, we're a modest little show here, but I've had a front seat to a lot of stuff, and I've pushed back, to death threats and things like that, and the transgender thing and all that stuff. And then, I have recently invoked the ire of Candace Owens's audience, because Candace is full of what, and say
Dookie.
Dookie swear on my show, but I've
you can say Dookie, right? You can say Dookie.
Yeah. But she's continued to weaponize the ignorance of her audience and rely on people who are essentially addicts to true crime fan fiction shows. They're like those the wine moms that get into that sort of stuff. And and then there's a bunch of enablers, the Evan Kilgores and Ryan Mattas and Ian Carrolls and people like that are reposting breaking news. Candace brought the receipts. No, she didn't. She's got nothing. No, she relies on anonymous high up sources have told me this, or she'll leave these cliffhangers, and then she really doesn't do anything. And then they rely upon people, not realizing that Candace had not been close to Charlie for a long time. A lot of her resentment is pointed and envy is pointed at Erica Kirk. It's pointed at the evangelical movement, because I've seen a lot of threads, and you can testify to this. Charlie, at first, Turning Point was a political conservative youth movement, not a Christian movement, but it included some Christians, it included some Mormons. I mean, it even included, Rob Smith, who's, openly gay.
Some Jews too, apparently.
It included some Jews.
So that's it. And this was right.
So I mean, it was a broad coalition, And then
Right.
Charlie, as he got more serious in his faith, he started, along with Pastor Rob McCoy, who was co-chair for Turning Point or TPUSA Faith. And more and more pastors and Christians got involved, and it was because Charlie was out there being an evangelist. As soon as he got serious, he, like a laser beam, focused on, hey, a revival for Christ is the answer. And that's not particularly Candace, even though she's converted to Catholicism because she married a rich, the Honorable George Farmer in Britain.
A royal.
Yes.
Yeah.
An
elite.
Yes, an elite, very wealthy man. And so she converted to Catholicism, and she's spewed all kinds of lies, and she's also trafficked in his death and the friendship that they used to have. And all these people have lapped it up, and she sat down with Erica Kirk, and both of them issued similar statements saying, hey, it really relieved a lot of the pressure. It toned down some of the stuff. It was a surprising meeting, a meeting of the minds. We agreed on a lot of things. We disagreed on some things. And as soon as Candace said that, her audience went crazy. And they all started turning on her. She looks like a clone. Look at her looking up and to the right. She clearly has a handler there.
You know what's crazy about the crazy thing you just said about the looking up and looking to the right? I said that to my wife Charlotte like 2 months ago when she started talking about all the crazy stuff. So I was clocking that she was making it up from the beginning. So they want to use that now. Go back a few months, see her looking the same way, and use that same level of
I mean, that look, I'm not some of that FBI profiling stuff and body language stuff. Some of it's true. Some of it is true on some people. On sociopaths, it generally is not. On people who are like the Gavin Newsoms of the world that are, have crafted lies so often.
Everything's a lie.
Yeah. I mean, when all you do is lie, So when people are like, oh, look he fidgeted a little bit, or look at what he was doing with his hands, there's all kinds of, reasons for that stuff. So I don't really do much of that, but it's funny how the audience was glomming onto that. Well, as soon as she started to get pressure, Candace had told Jeremy Boring one time that she goes where her audience goes. She believes what her audience believes, which, by the way, that's why I've called her a chameleon. I've called her a grifter. Right. She's chased whatever brings her that fame and adulation, and she's a rank narcissist. And people who do not know her and know her just because they're fans and things like that, do not understand the wake of destruction that woman left. And the number of friends that she stabbed in the back and all that stuff. I've titled this one Just Asking Questions because that's what the whole crowd has said. Right. Candace Owens is just asking questions, and none of you guys are. And of course we're asking questions, but she's distracting from the legitimate questions. She's distracting from the court case that we should be paying attention to. She's distracting from the things that we do know are facts. She's creating this air of uncertainty based on insinuating that his friends were complicit in his murder. And of course, she doesn't come out and say, Erica Kirk killed Charlie. But what she does say is, that's mighty suspicious. Oh, look at this woman's background. Oh, how could she? Oh, was she this? Was she that? I don't know. I'm just asking questions, leading everybody who's got any kind of brains in them to understand that she's casting suspicion, on everybody surrounding. And there is such thing as confusion and fog of war statements, and people like Charlie's Magic Bones, Andrew Colvett, like, oh, my buddy was strong, that's why the bullet, all of that stuff. Instead of giving a charitable interpretation to it, she ascribes all of it as lies.
Yeah. That's the part that actually is part of what upsets me. I was going to use another word. What upsets me, because it's, hey, everything that's around the Tyler guy, Tyler Robinson, who I believe, based on just looking at everything from a outside perspective, is like, it points to him. Now, everything Candace has put out there, all her mystery boxes, they all could be true. Okay, we'll just start there. It could be true. But the tactic that she's using is this thing over here that could be just as true as her speculation is inherently false. That's the problem that like people are missing is not, hey, there's stuff going on and there's maybe it's okay. Yeah, go ask questions, look into it. But how can you say when you set your premises, it's not this thing at all? It's not the crazy trans people and their ideology that we know have killed people. So it's not none of them. That has nothing to do with they've killed Christians in church, kids, let alone in school. It's not them at all, is what she's saying by going, this thing over here is completely no.
Yeah.
So then you're filling in it. So that's a part of a disingenuous move where it's like, I understand if you want to play this game and you go, okay, well, that looks, he was dating a trans. Okay, so yeah, I could see, but his parents turned him in because he used that as a thing. Well, who does that? I'm like, what? A lot of people do that when your kid does something crazy.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
everything is no over here, but then it's just the mystery box over here. Like it's so disingenuous. My stomach.
Yeah, I mean, wait, it's more likely that they'd turn him in than cover up the fact that they found out that he murdered Charlie and he bragged about it and they
broad
saw
daylight
the evidence of it. And I mean, come on. And it was a sheriff friend that took him in. And I mean, it was, there's too many of those things that, his DNA found on everything. And, she's forgetting it's multiple agencies, not just the FBI. In fact, it was the sheriff's department and others that were first in on this.
And who are leading the investigation.
Yeah. So she's exploiting, again, people's ignorance and their stupidity, and she's giving them half the information. And look, should we believe the FBI? Well, no. I mean, the FBI's lied to us a ton. But you take all of this thing in totality, and then we go and see what evidence is presented in the trial. But, she's fanning the flames of this thing. It's going to crash and burn because
it already
only did it so much. She's going to have to pivot at some point to something else because this story is going to run out and she's going to have to figure something else out.
Bryce, this is the last week. Like this is the last week of it being to a level where it's positive for her. And I say positive when I say viewership, because people are in there in the comments will be, burning her like crazy, but it's still 1.2 million views. That's still like the purpose of it. Like, I think I said this to my wife last night. I think there are some people and things happen with social media where it doesn't matter if it's good or bad as long as there's attention.
Yeah.
And so what we're seeing here, I think, again, this is the last week, and then it's just going to be sad because I'm sure you saw the Piers Morgan interview. And I like that it was Piers.
And I loved it.
Because Piers is not a MAGA shill, as some of these people try to put out there, or Piers is not, for all intents and purposes, on our side of the fence, a true believer, right? So they can't disparage someone like they did Andrew, or like they've done Seth Dillon, or like they've done anyone on our side that stops. It's Piers Morgan. Like he just quote unquote lost to Nick Fuentes last week. So him pressing in here like this, and Candace, the most egotistical and narcissistic thing I heard in that whole her whole interview, that just goes, this is why everyone should be careful. He asked her simple. He goes, hey, so do you know where Charlie's buried? And you would have thought they asked her to reveal the secrets of who organized and robbed a bank that she was a part of. Well, I mean, I knew where it was supposed to be buried. Like it's a simple yes or no. She could easily just say no. And what that does, and I want to try to explain this to Charlotte, she can't be perceived as outside of the circle of influence at anything, including something that is reasonable to believe you wouldn't know. Like, you haven't been in a circle, you wouldn't know. You can go no. It wouldn't even take away from people wanting to believe her and everything else. But she can't be outside the circle so much that she has to go, well, I knew where he was supposed to be buried. Well, I didn't ask you that, 12-year-old. Like, do you know where she's buried? Yes or no? Or where he's buried? Yes or no? And that level, that to me told me everything else I need to know. She cannot be wrong. It's the same thing with the leftists. Like, they can't be like, that we sucked over here. It's got to be like, well, the reason's because the weather, and then Trump was in Australia that one day. You're like, what? Either it's you or it's not. Like,
Yeah, a good
crazy.
example of her being out of the loop, and I think she actually knew better and was lying. But when her and Charlie went on a couple of tours and the things that she joined
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the past, a lot of them were inside and
yeah.
not on the outside campus tours like he was doing. And on the inside of those events, some of those were ticketed, right? And so she early on put out this thing that they at the last minute didn't sell tickets to this event. They just let every that was the entire last several years of Charlie's tours were all out in the open air and people
Mhm.
could just come. And it was not a ticketed event. But she hadn't been going to those things for a long time
Right.
because she hadn't been invited, and she was, again, she got outed over time as a narcissist, self-aggrandizing, money grubbing
Focus. Yeah.
person,
Mhm.
and once she burned, again, TPUSA, Prager, they were too gracious to talk smack about her after
Right,
the
right,
fact.
right.
Jeremy Boring and Daily Wire, not quite as gracious, you
I mean,
know.
Jeremy was still more gracious until we just saw that release that he did when he had the meeting with everyone else. I mean, Ben went in hard, but Jeremy was still like, from where he could have gone that we
Yeah,
see
for sure.
now, he was gracious. Like
Yeah,
where he could have really gone,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
considering how she was screaming on the other side of it too. That's what
Yeah,
people
yeah.
missed. She
No, I
wasn't
mean,
quiet on the
you had more classy people on one side, and
other.
then, once they realized that look, she's just gonna do what she's gonna do, and then people started to within the movement turn against her. But again, her audience is filled with a lot of people that also were not particularly conservative. Her
Right,
audience isn't filled with the same kind of people that are at a turning point event. Some of the same people,
right,
but
right.
largely the makeup is again, it's just a kind of a different group of people.
You know what I think the makeup is? I think the makeup is, like you said, it's probably a little bit of our movement because she has been around for 11,
Mhm.
12 years.
Yeah, there's still some
Then
fans.
then it's been like I would say the curmudgeons, the nihilists, right? The ones that also they know the party's over on the left. It's over. Like it's not fun just to even be around them. They're not really funny anymore. And sit in the middle by yourself, there's no one really there that is dynamic. But over here, there's a couple people you can kind of pick. And so they've gone. I saw this with Dave Smith. They've gone on like these single issues and go, yeah. And then they're like, waving the American flag and the MAGA flag or wearing the hat that one time. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, they're not true believers. They are one issue individuals that all you need to do is break that issue and they'll turn around and go, yeah, Trump been a disappointment to all of it. I mean, Candace even said it. They lied to me. Listen, and I would put this out to anyone who is talking about this right now, and if you're considering not even voting for it in the midterm, I try not to be angry towards people, but the truth is you forget things are so good that you forget what it was like where we're going down the road of socialism. Over here on what's happening right now, what it was it supposed to look like to remove all these illegals? What was it supposed to look like to turn an economy around that was a false economy based under government rule as opposed to a supply side economy? What were these things supposed to look like in the turn? Was it supposed to be clean and easy like some kind of Hallmark movie
Yeah.
that no one likes to watch anyway? Or was it
Mhm.
going to be real life? And people need to wake up to it being real life. And sorry that you didn't get everything that you're not getting anything that you wanted to get, Candace or Dave Smith, or I even saw with what's the one guy who oh man, he kind of comes off, I think he's former military, and he's like comes off very serious, and he's like, they haven't got anything I wanted. I'm like, you guys just want clicks because you're being
Yeah.
disingenuous at the
No, it's true.
best.
It's true, and they don't understand how complex our government is and what it requires to route out some of the, deep state actors and permanent bureaucracy people that are stifling things. Remember, guys like Cash Patel are political appointee, and he's coming
Right.
into a place where they're stymieing him internally
Every
like
turn.
crazy. And so, he's having to, and this is, the same in the military and everything else, slowly over time, find out who those people are, clean house, get rid of them, insist on their agendas. And it ain't easy, man.
Well, and it's also a childish approach. It hasn't even been a year. It hasn't been a year. The guy's major legislation is not even active yet.
Yeah.
And it's like, why isn't everything better? Are you guys insane? That's insane, childish focus, like, and to follow people because you just want to be angry to be angry. Like,
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
around you. You know, if you really want perspective, go over to a third world country and actually live there, or make it even better. Go to some certain parts of the cities here in our country and go,
Yeah. And see what's up.
yeah, and be like, yeah, you know what? Trump's actually doing great compared for what he has to clean up. Guys, we gotta be better.
Yeah.
Gotta
Yeah.
be better.
Agreed. Well, look, this nonsense is always going to exist. People like Candace Owens and her sycophants that are doing the stuff that they're doing for engagement and clicks. I mean, it's pretty wild. I had a guy that challenged me. I'm going to challenge you to debate. I'm going to give 20 grand to charity if you of your choice if you win the debate and all this stuff. And so I go, fine, because he's like, and you have until tomorrow to accept this challenge. Average Joe versus podcaster. Let's go. And so I'm like, all right, I direct message him, hey, give me your email, and he gets on the phone or gets on email with my team, and he says, hey, I was doing that for drama effect, and what position would he want me to take? I'll take any position. I could play the role of the guy who gets convinced by his compelling arguments. And I told my team, look, that's not me, man. I have authentic beliefs. We're not playing a classroom debate scenario where you got to argue the other side. I mean, I don't mind us doing that if we know we're doing that, but don't pretend to be, it's just gross to me.
Well, because there's a market out there, and I'll be honest with you, I think Candace leads the way with that market. It's been because 4 years of Joe, and it's an easy market to be in when what was going on with Joe from a perspective standpoint. Now, when you have you've made money off being the cantankerous one. When your side wins, you can't be the man, things are good, let's start focus on the good. You can't. Like, it's whatever got you to the dance, or to say whatever got the coach hired is probably what's going to get him fired. And what's getting Candace the fall of Candace Owens is who she's been. She hasn't changed. She's been this like, I'm going to talk fast and look at you and be like, no, you're the crazy one, and the whole time.
And
where Charlie shifted.
Yeah, her style and the people who have her style. You watch her on Peers, and people do this. They get just aggressively like advocating for something that's wrong, or they just think if they intensify, then people will realize that they didn't just come up with nothing. They didn't just step all over themselves. They didn't just
if you do it with passion.
Yeah, and so people will mistake that passion and that conviction in their lives for truth, and it's just not. So, so I got a funny thing that I'm going to play. So, my name has bounced all over the place in some of these videos for people who are investigating TPUSA and what a mess that TPUSA is.
Yeah,
and
which they forget. That was one of the main reasons Trump won. All of a sudden, now we forget. There's no sense of like, hey, thank you.
Yeah. No, it's wild. But here, let's see if I can do this. But this I thought was fun here.
Oh, I've watched her.
Let's play this.
Under the Charlie Kirk Turning Point USA umbrella, there are 4 nonprofit organizations. There's Turning Point USA, which has Charlie Kirk as the president, Turning Point Endowment, which has Charlie Kirk as the president, Turning Point Action, which has Charlie Kirk as the president, and America's Turning Point, which has Bryce Eddy as president. Now, you might be asking,
who the f*** is that guy? Who the f*** is that?
So I love that. And I'm going to play the rest of it in a second. But
yeah, let's go.
It's funny because again, this is an example of people weaponizing ignorance on how these organizations work and what all of that means. But I'm gonna play the rest of her thing here, which is really
deeper into the financials.
Hilarious.
Let's talk a little bit more about
who the f***
this Bryce Eddy guy is. Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that? Did you hear something? Bryce Eddy is a very, 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 very,
I gotta
very
remove
busy
this one.
guy.
Here we go.
He is president of America's Turning Point. He has his own podcast. He does jujitsu, and I believe he has his own jujitsu gym. He's starting a cigarette company. According
Cigar.
to his LinkedIn, he fairly recently became the principal at Commercial Insurance Associates. He also has his own insurance company registered in California called Bryce Whitfield Eddy Inc., which is still active. He also has a company called Freedom Square. How does one person have enough time to do all of that? But not only that, look at his work history on LinkedIn. From 2019 to July 2025, he was the executive vice president at Assured Partners, while simultaneously serving as the senior vice president at Tolman Weicker Insurance Services, and that overlapped with Strategy and Risk, a security and investigations company. Before that, from 2008 to 2013, he was the senior vice president of Palms and Associates. Before that, he was the senior vice president of Sander A. Kessler and Associates, and before that, from 1997 to January 2003, he was the vice president of Peter C. Foy and Associates. Just so you guys know, in 1997, he would have been 23 years old. How is it that his entire work experience is being vice presidents of various insurance brokerages, starting from the age of 23 years old and onwards? This guy has never, ever, ever worked a fucking entry-level position in his life, according to his LinkedIn.
That just makes no fucking sense. I mean, it's just bullshit.
Well, anyway.
Actually, real quick, it sounds like someone who's been, I don't know, busting their butt. That's just me. That's just me.
I just thought you might be a fan, man. I mean, that's very exciting,
Yeah.
you know? Hey, listen, my nickname wasn't Super Bryce for just any reason. Actually,
Right?
that was my jujitsu nickname that was given to me. But
It came from everywhere else.
But yeah, you know, I'm a get after it guy. I love it, you know. Now, of course, you also don't put the fact that before that I had another random sales job, and before that I was a roofer for a couple of years, and then I realized that that is a rough way to make a living. I was working in the family roofing business. But they go on to imply that I'm a Fed, and then she goes into this whole thing about how me being in the insurance business, and we had taken out, and it's a matter of public record, a big life insurance policy on Charlie. And this is the weaponizing of ignorance part, is, you know, it was a very substantial policy with a few $100,000 a year in premiums. And what people don't understand is that's called a key man policy. So if a guy like Charlie, you know, who is a key person, and by the way, you had a key policy on guys like Steve Jobs and, you know, others that, you know, were so integral.
This is what the wealthy does.
It's what big entities do, where they have a figurehead that is a killer and need to figure out, okay, when our number one fundraiser and the guy who is our founder and the guy who's the lifeblood of this company, you know, if he was to mysteriously die or get murdered, you know, then what are we going to do? But her implication was that, you know, that was a plot, and I was part of this whole conspiracy, because, you know, they can't imagine other scenarios. It has to be this kind of a thing.
You know, the other thing that I realized as I've gotten more into the proper space of adulthood and now a father and looking at a lot of that stuff, like especially the life insurance stuff, most people don't pay attention to when they're single. So it doesn't make sense to them. And go back to your point about the true crime, in whether it's a Law and Order or a true crime show on HBO, a lot of times when you hear life insurance is connected to, and then they put a policy out and then he died the next day. So things that are done normally for people, like you said, you know, and not even just rich people, but like a guy who's just, hey, I got 2 kids and a wife, I got to make sure there's at least something if something happens. A lot of those people don't even mess in that world. So to them, it's only connected to nefarious means when they hear a move is happening in that world. It's really kind of sad.
Her husband took out a life insurance policy on her, and then suddenly she was dead.
She died.
And, oh, look it, he poisoned her coffee every morning.
Morning, and you're like, she had stage 4 cancer for 6 months. That's why they, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
no, that's what those folks get into. But anyway, I was amused by that.
I didn't know you were a Fed, man. Congratulations. When did you go to Quantico? Was that
Yeah,
like?
I mean, it was somewhere in that whole mix of all
Yeah,
the busy that I
all the
had.
vice presidents.
Yeah, I took time to
Yeah,
join the CIA. Oh wait, the funny thing is my the new firm,
Mm.
Commercial Insurance Associates, wonderful guys. I'm happy to be a part of that organization and a partner there. It's CIA.
I know. I saw that. I thought that's where she was going to go with it.
I
Actually,
did too.
actually thought that's where she was going to go, and I'm listening to it. I'm like,
So wait
oh my
until they
god,
put two and two together. No, he definitely is a Fed. See,
it's like, see, it spells out the same acronym. No,
look at that. That would be a little too on the nose, guys.
They're reaching, man. And you know
Yeah.
what sucks? I've watched. I forget that girl's name, but I've watched some of her stuff, and her takes usually, or at least the stuff I've watched, have been on. But again, it goes to show you that it's a form of institutional capture, because her idol Candace Owens brought it up, and it's like, and she's gonna bite on that and run with it. And
yeah, and Candace put me on her, on her show too, and said different things. She replied to me the other day because I've been.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, but she, yeah, I mean, she doesn't want to. I don't think she wants to go at guys like me who do have receipts and know the backstory of her. I don't think she wants to go back and forth, because again, I'm going to expose some things that I know, firsthand from Charlie and stuff like that. Look, Charlie was the only one that could stop me from saying things that were true about her. But man, I mean, she, again, I was connected to PragerU. I saw what happened there. I mean, all of these sort of things that she did. Yeah, I mean, this is the world that they're all living in. And there's another guy that's out there that is like examining the irregularities of the 501c3 990s. And
the guy who is he's a little bit of sugar tank. Like, he just kind of has a little bit of effeminate nature to him. Is that?
I think that that's the guy. But he's supposedly a CPA, and so he's going on these things. Now, what's funny is he's saying, well, okay, and they did this and that. Now, that's not illegal. However, it might be a little suspicious, and then they did this, and then that's not illegal.
Yeah, exactly. It's not illegal, but he did that. He did that he parked in the parking lot and was like, I'm at the building, and you can't tell whatever any business is. This is weird. Or it's like most office buildings.
Yeah,
like what? This stuff is. I thought COVID was crazy. I thought the shots were crazy. I thought
people are crazy.
It's there it is, and the Bible speaks on it, man. They're looking, to hear what is it? Our itchy ears. We want to hear stories. It can't just be
ears tickled. Well, and people like Candace are literally the scorned woman that is ripping the house down around her.
Right.
And that's what she decided to do with TPUSA and telling people not to contribute to them and all those sort of things. She's destroying the house that Charlie built. And again,
because that was her friend. That was her friend, by the way. That's what you do with your friend. Destroy.
Yeah, and not recognizing that, man, all these people are in mourning, and a lot of the folks that are out there is, they're acting suspicious. They're acting like people who are in mourning and don't know what to do next. I mean, the internal chaos. I mean, it's been turned on its head, and you've got lovely, awesome people that are missing Charlie and missing his leadership and are aching because he's dead. And they're suggesting who stands to gain. Oh, Erica Kirk stands to gain. Now she's the leader of this organization. That's not what she wanted to be doing.
She wanted to be a wife and a mother.
And she's a capable, competent woman who has, had some successful business experience. Yeah, Proclaim being one, and doing, others, and her big Bible study. I think Bible 360. That a million people were going through. I mean, that's what she wanted to be doing, which was nice, kind of part-time gigs that she was doing effectively while she was being Charlie Kirk's wife and the mother to his children. And for these people to act as if anyone in the TPUSA organization that loved Charlie, and oh, by the way, many people became successful because of following Charlie.
And a lot of people won't even get that access just because they used to hang with Charlie. It was Charlie got you in the door. And if you weren't tight, you're just on the outside going, "Hey, remember I was with Charlie?" And they're like, "Oh, you're not Charlie." Like that's how access works.
No, I mean, Charlie created a field of success around him because he was a good leader and he inspired people. And I mean, guys, like what does a Andrew Colvette gain from his death? That's one of his closest friends. He was the producer of the show. They grew up through this together. They were absolutely crushing it. Andrew got access to everybody and anybody coming to wanting to be on Charlie's show, wanting to interview Charlie, Andrew got to, meet presidents and captains of industry, got to be in the room on all kinds of things. And that's going to change for him. And, God bless him, he'll be okay, but he was earning well. I mean, he was a partner in the show. I mean, he was crushing it. It was the #1 show, in the conservative movement by far. It was the #1 show on Salem. I mean, it supplanted and passed and surpassed all the records. I mean, it was crushing it.
So I have an exclusive. You brought up Andrew, and I too have text messages that will drop bombs on everyone.
Nice. Yes.
So I wrote this just so we know. I wrote this on October 16th, right? Or 15th. I said something. I thought they knew each other since they were kids. He's like, "Nah, it's just the last 8 years." It's like, "Oh, my bad. I heard that somewhere. You guys are super close, though. You all really honored him. Trust the Lord now more than ever. He was one of my best friends, no doubt. Probably my best friend. But we were grown men and never labeled such things. All I know is I miss him terribly."
Yep. Yeah.
He didn't have to say any of that.
No. I mean, and I got to know Andrew over that same period of time. And, I was a early adopter of Charlie's and following him before, he and I became professionally associated in the, conservative world. And before I joined the board. Yeah. But Charlie was amazing. Andrew was amazing. All these people are reeling. And to face every day the lies, accusations, the insinuations, and things like that. Candace, if she was a good person, and she wouldn't just be asking questions, and really insinuating evil things. She could have just been charitable towards all of them and focused on, what's the deal with this Tyler Robinson kid? Had she gone down that path and pressured the FBI, let's really know about these things,
who he is.
Yeah, and stayed away from trying to tear down TPUSA, it would have been a different story. And I think she would have also still had a mountain of followers. I think that she still would have gotten a lot of attention, but I think she's going to burn out, and it's not going to be good for her.
No, it's going to be all done. And it's like what she could have done in that. She would have been more of where Tucker sits right now than where she sits. I know she's going to try to hold on to Tucker as much as possible because he's not further down the road as she is when it comes down to kind of, I say, losing supporters. And the sad truth is, I believe, because it was about 2 weeks at least before it started pointing to a turning point, maybe even quicker than that, like a week and a half. If it was about protecting and finding out about the friend that you say you care about finding out like what happened to your friend, why would you be so antagonistic towards the organization, towards the leaders of the organization?
Yeah.
Like part of where she is and part of where you go when you're setting platform, you're moving up in the world is to have access to these certain individuals. Why would you not? Hey, let me get my people to reach out to Erica. Why would you not? Let me get my people to reach out to Andrew and like, let's have a conversation so I can like delineate this. Let me stay over here for 2.5 months, not say anything. And by the way, they said they went and met, right? This is how much of a grifter liar she is. She said she was too busy to come on the live stream because she has her show that same day. But she's not too busy then to fly to Arizona and do a behind the scenes meeting where no one gets to see what she's saying. That's interesting.
Yeah, I I don't necessarily think that those guys would have done a great job in interviewing her or having that, live stream debate with her,
no.
because
But still.
they're not Charlie, right?
Yeah.
And those guys, I mean, they're great guys. I'm not knocking Andrew. I'm not knocking them all. These guys I love dearly. I'm not knocking Blake, but they are not Charlie. And she is practiced in front of the camera, going after people like a pit bull. You need somebody who can do that.
Right.
Effectively. You need somebody also that, when somebody goes aggressive, it's jujitsu, right? Bryce, Eddy here. Most of you know I'm an aggressive, high-energy guy, a 4th-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and between bodybuilding and my high-intensity lifting sessions, I still train like I'm 25. You don't need to be a maniac like me to have painful, stiff joints, but if you do, Joint Complex by Nation Health MD can help. I'm a big believer in this stuff. It doesn't matter if you're struggling with aches or stiffness in your knees, hips, or back. Joint Complex contains natural ingredients that promote joint comfort and mobility. It features high-quality turmeric and boswellia to support a healthy inflammatory response. It contains natural eggshell membrane, which promotes strong and supple joint cartilage. Every bottle of Joint Complex is manufactured here in America, so you know you're getting the best quality for your money. Right now, you can try Joint Complex risk-free and save 35% on your order. Go to nationhealthmd.com and enter discount code BRYCE at checkout. That's nationhealthmd.com and discount code BRYCE to get 35% off your order of Joint Complex today. One of my jiu-jitsu instructors, who's legendary, whatever pace you would go at, he would change the pace. So if you would go hard and fast, he would slow it down.
Right.
If you wanted to go slow, he would up the pace.
Wow.
And he did it, while at the same time being calm, because you can be forceful with somebody, you can be direct, you can be intense with a Candace Owens, you can call her on it, you can shout at her
really well,
or you can just be firm and powerful and forceful without getting shrill.
I'll do it.
I would.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I would chop her up.
Fantastic.
If anybody wants to invite me, I would call her out to her face
over and over
and challenge the fact that she is lying about many things and mischaracterizing her relationship with Charlie purposefully to make sure to make people think that she had the inside track on all that was going on at TPUSA.
And people miss. I want to talk about how everything that she's threw out is also making Charlie look like he was just floating along for the ride. Like he wasn't a fiercely intelligent and savvy and very on top of what's going on around him type of person. It's really fascinating. Like that person is crazy. That person, the whole organization, and who's Andrew Covey, who's his pastor. Was Charlie that?
Yeah, like they were all controlling him. And oh, by the way,
was he that weak?
Yeah, no, he most certainly.
I know.
He most certainly wasn't, as you know. Yeah, no, I mean what people don't know, and I was so blessed to get to drive Charlie around, Erica too, by the way, and spend some time with Erica in the green room and all the behind the scenes stuff. And Charlie would be on the phone one after another with very, very powerful, high-profile names. I won't disclose the conversations, but let's just put it this way: giving people the correct talking points, clarifying what they should be saying to communicate our ideas better, because he was a genius there. And a lot of people don't do that very effectively. Charlie did. I remember so many instances of, early on, I would give Charlie some of my thoughts about certain things. And there's a couple of instances where he would then the next day, on his show, go, watch this. This is what's going to happen. Because I would predict a few things, from the left, like the words are violence thing. I would give a couple of these little talking points. And Charlie would come in and say it 1,000 times better than I could ever hope to. I mean, that was his gift, right?
Yeah.
And I thought I was good at it, and I thought I could clarify. And this guy, I mean, it's just incredible, right?
Right.
Well, look, those are the kind of people that, Charlie was holding this coalition that was so broad together while being authentically Christian. I mean, he was holding a coalition that included people who do not share all of our values, people who are an affront to certain Christian values as well. And he was holding that thing together for the purpose of winning. I'll remember the one and only time, and I'm not sure if I ever said this on the show, that Charlie blew up my phone. I happened to be in the mountains horseback riding, so I had no signal. And when I got down the mountain, my phone starts bing, 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 bing. And it was Charlie because he was irritated with Seth Gruber and Lila Rose in what they were doing in terms of like getting all these people in the pro-life movement to disavow Trump during the campaign. And Charlie was so ticked, and it was one of the few times that he called me with like genuine anger in his voice. And he says, "You call Seth Gruber right now. You call Lila Rose." And he put me on to talk to them. I talked to them both and spent a good amount of time just going as to, listen, this guy's the most pro-life president we ever have. Right. Biden, if you guys disavow and pull back, it's not you that's going to make the difference. It's your tens of thousands of people that you affect. And we need President Trump because he is going to be more effective in this area than anybody else. And you can't abandon this ship and cause us to lose because Biden, equals more dead babies. And so, we had a good meeting in the minds, and they kind of pulled back, from some of that. Which, that was Charlie. He could pull people together. And in some cases, he used proxies like me who had some of those relationships, who could make some of those phone calls. But I mean, that was him. And he was very, very strong. And so these people that are like, oh, yeah, everybody else was running TPUSA and not him. That's not true.
That's not true at all.
A quick note on the Doge thing, because people are making a big deal. He was going to do a Doge style audit at TPUSA and they killed him for it. Tyler Boyer, who, by the way, Tyler was not the chief operating officer. Tyler got moved several years ago to focusing, because it was his gifting. He got moved into focusing on the C4. And that was his baby. And he knew politics, and he knew all the people, and he put the people on the ground to get out the low propensity voters. And that was his job. And there were other people that were acting, chief operating officer, acting as operations, doing that sort of stuff. There was the, CFO, Justin, there was, the head of fundraising, Justin Strife, all of these people that were very much, making this thing work, but it was filled, and it's still, a lot of young people. The average age was extremely young, and you had a lot of different divisions and different pieces, and everybody going 1,000 miles an hour. And so there was a little bit of chaos, and there needed to be some discipline. And so Charlie was inspired by Elon Musk and saw that, we got to do a Doge style audit here. We got to tighten this thing up. We got to make sure there's no fraud, waste, and abuse of donors' money. Yes, we're getting results. Yes, we're being effective with the donor money, but let's make this go as far as possible. And so that was his impetus for that. And it wasn't unwelcome. It was like the CEO deciding, hey guys, we're going to tighten some things up here, and I am tasking this guy with it, and we're going to get this done, and we're going to make sure that we're more disciplined.
Well, what's funny about that too? I thought about it. It goes back to that video you just played with that lady talking about your work history. With a guy like Charlie, there was never going to be a good time for them to assassinate him without questions being brought up about what he was just about to do.
Yeah, of course. Because
he's always about to do something that was going to be amazing. So,
and
impactful and push the envelope one way. And it's like, so it lends to the conspiracy so easily, because you tell me, when was he retired? Was it even like, Rob Reiner, rest in peace. Rob Reiner was at a holiday party and then it went down. So you can go, whoa, that's crazy. He was just but Rob wasn't out there changing the whole society. He wasn't out there on the phone, like you said, with dignitaries and local chapters and trying to build this thing up. So no matter what, it was going to look like, well, because of the things he was about to do. You give him 2 weeks, and him and I just saw with I think it was Brett's the doctor, not McCullough, the other doctor who was just on Joe Rogan talking about how he had a text from Charlie. They were going to work on getting the administration to take the mRNA vaccine off the market completely. And they were right in that little moment, getting ready to do that right before. And you're like, okay, well, why isn't Candace jumping on the fact that maybe Pfizer,
big pharma, Pfizer,
yeah, like why not? Because there was always,
there was no
coming up,
shortage of people who wanted Charlie dead. There's, those text messages, right? That they were like the day before he said that. No. Like the Frank Turek one was, a lot longer ago. I worked on, worked with the FBI on behalf of Charlie on some threats that were credible threats that were coming his way, where we were able to figure out and find the guy. We found one of these guys who had threatened Charlie through a picture that he had of his dog. And it was a whole little like thread that we got followed, and he happened to have be part of this dog club, and we were able to locate and figure him out and present him to the FBI. And it's crazy. That's investigation, cool. That's cool. to figure out who this guy was. Well, anyway, there was no shortage of that. Charlie got death threats all the time, and Charlie had said many times, "They want me dead. They want to kill me." Now, who's they? Well, they is a broad coalition of people that include people in the deep state, for sure, people who are globalists, oligarchs that want to take power, the central planners, the furries, the trannies, all the people that hated Charlie,
Antifa.
Yeah, all of the people that thought Charlie was, horrific, racist, homophobe, Islamophobe, every phobe on the planet. That's those are the people that wanted Charlie dead. He had no shortage of enemies because he was so effective. And yes, he was killed, and yes, we're going to find out more and more details through the trial. And no, we haven't found out anything through that was meaningful through Candace Owens' investigation.
Well, I think the only thing we found out was who Candace was. So that's a big thing.
Amen.
But I wanted to, I know we're getting close to the end here, and I wanted to speak on the fact that my wife said this the other day, and I was just thinking about it as you were talking, and it's still, we've been going through a lot of issues, and man, I can't even speak for Turning Point as you brought them up. Yes, it's been a lot of bullets flying left and right, and we haven't had a chance to truly grieve. Yeah. My wife said this the other day. She was just out of nowhere. She's like, "Man, I miss Charlie." And I was like, "Dang." And it just hit me. And that's one of the things that I think Candace did that it would be hard to look past, is the fact that at the very least, to Erica and the people right around there, she didn't give them time just to sit.
It's interesting, man. I had, and I'll try to say this without crying myself, but I went to this work dinner in Nashville, Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse, amazing place, phenomenal steaks, and wonderful service. But anyway, so we walk out of Jeff Ruby's, and 4 or 5 of us walk next door to the jazz club, and music's playing, and it's Christmas party season, and there's a bunch of these young 20-somethings in there, all dressed up, and some kind of theme or whatever. And one of the guys I was with, "Oh, what are you guys here for?" "Oh, work party." And they were a PR firm of some kind. And the guy's asking, "Oh, what kind of clients and things like that?" "Well, this and that, and some politicians and some people in the and they're like, "Oh, well, do you do like conservative or liberal politicians?" Something. "Oh, well, we're kind of conservative," a little sheepish. Well, Bryce is like the rightest guy around. He worked with Charlie Kirk, and her boyfriend was standing there, and he's like, "Oh my God." And he goes, "Oh, hey man, I just want to meet you." And then he starts, asking me some questions, and he goes, "Oh, Charlie changed our lives." And just like went on, "All my friends, and it was like, boom. Man, I like kind of burst into surprising tears, like, whoa, and had to collect myself because it hit me hard. Because had he heard that,
Yeah.
He would have been so moved because he did change so many people's lives in this generation coming up, and had such a profound effect. And Charlie, having heard that, would have been like,
Yeah.
I mean, just amazing. That's what he prayed for. That's what we all prayed for.
Uh, enjoy your capitalist breakfast. That's like my favorite line ever from Charlie, when they screened him out of a restaurant and it poured water on him and he had nothing but a great smile on his face. It's to a certain extent like, wow, these people are crazy. Look, and he was like, all right, enjoy your capitalist breakfast. And I was like, and I've used that in rallies and stuff. And it's like, man, man, when you really stop, and we stop like the Candace and the this, and you start to again think and feel what this is really all about, man, it's just thank God for Jesus, man, that he brought him for us, so we can have a place to truly go. Because it when you start to really sit in it, it still sucks and it still hurts, and it's just I would hope that people watching this, that's what the core of the frustration, sadness, and part anger towards Candace comes from.
Oh yeah,
because our hearts are broken, and while they're broken, someone who was perceived as an individual that would put your arm around you and cry with you, whether you knew them personally or not, that's what I'm talking about. But the overall feeling was then flipping tables and grabbing drinks and being like, hey, and tapping people on the shoulder, and we're just trying to breathe in it and trying to like,
no, we're in mourning.
Digest it.
We're in mourning and being spit on by somebody for clicks, and there's a lot of people, Candace might be the biggest, but there's a whole massive crowd of people doing that, and crowd of people that are retweeting nonsense and pouring into that stuff.
Our friend Seth Dillon, he got threatened so bad he had to move from where he lives. It's like,
it's crazy.
These people, and Seth warned me about the woke right a year ago after the Prager Ugalis. So
James Lindsay too, and he got booted off of a bunch of stages because
I remember
he was talking about that, and
I remember that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have him on again soon. He's running around like a madman still, but yeah, I mean, he said this is coming, this is next, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Well, and I think the one solace then is, if anyone would lead the woke right, it would be, the Candace to a certain extent. Her, you say a few others. The downfall of this is, I think, will highlight it a little more so that we can hope that more don't fall for it, or there's easier way to go to break the argument when someone tries to sit in that world. Because if it was underground, quiet, no one was really saying anything, or no one was pushing back, I think it could be just as bad as the woke left, but I think that we have a chance here because of it's.
No, and I'm glad. I mean, and thankfully with Candace, more and more people are pushing back. And again, I was, doing it myself, again, small show here, but I was doing that from the beginning.
Right.
Right out the gate, and I knew that there, you'd get all the hate and all that stuff from people that are like, oh, you must be in on it too.
Yeah.
But finally, courage is contagious. And then, you just realize that, okay, it's a dumb audience, largely mixed in with some people who are genuine, and the genuine people need to jump off of her ship. And then the people who have been afraid to say anything because they didn't want to antagonize her audience, because there are a lot of big people out there that agreed with me that weren't that weren't doing anything to oppose her.
Substantial. I did notice kind of I wouldn't say coordinated, but I felt it, and I started posting more about it because I just wanted the dust to settle and be like, well, let it go. But I have noticed, I think there was an aura after the meeting and her response. Everyone's like, all right, we're done. So even when Alex Jones can come out and make a statement on it, I was like, Alex is taking a moment. I think he sees how important what Charlie was all about is, and what she's doing to that.
No, I had great respect actually for Alex. And
me too.
I tried to get him on. I almost went in his studio to interview him. And it was just a timing that, didn't work.
You got to get it back.
I still got to try to make that work one day, because he was really down and out at the time, and it was a good time to, kind of bless him that way. Yeah. But anyway, well, hey brother, we got to cut this one. And I appreciate you. Love you to death. Bro. And yeah, man, it's important for us to get through the grieving process, and yeah, it's still not done. So
No, it
anyway,
won't be done for a while.
where can we find you, brother?
Well, you can find me at Instagram at Siaka_Masqua. You can find me on X at _Siaka Masqua. And now I am on TikTok because why not?
I just did TikTok too. How funny.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I've never done it before, but we're doing it. Yeah,
We're doing it.
Super Bryce Eddy.
There
same
you
with
go.
Instagram at Super Bryce Eddy on TikTok, and yeah, I'm doing a number of things this year that are going to be different than what I've done in the past, and I'm looking forward.
Yeah, same here. We got some cool stuff coming up. I actually got to talk to you because I have just started my own 501c3. Legacy Society. We'll tell you more about it as future comes. And
let's plug it next time, man.
Yeah, we want to be like Turning Point was for all of us and get the idea into a lot of different communities which may be missed. But that's what we're doing. Support, follow. You're gonna get some funny stuff. I always like to try to bring some humor to everything I do, guys. And Bryce, I love you, man, as always.
You too, brother.
And yeah, I love you, Charlie. And yeah, we miss you, bud.
Amen. Well, to God be the glory, and we are out.
Except my dog's here.
Weird subject here, but most of us who've lived a little life out there or live with beloved pets accumulate parasites. If you're struggling with gas, bloating, loose stools, or constipation, or if you often feel tired and weak, there's a good chance you might have a parasite. According to the CDC, millions of Americans are infected, but most of us are unaware. That's why folks are loving Paratarget by Nature's Blast. Paratarget contains a unique blend of natural ingredients that help kick those parasites to the curb. People who use it have reported better digestion and improved energy levels. Just one scoop mixed into your favorite room temperature or cold drink every day does the trick. You'll even get delicious recipes for a tropical smoothie and refreshing citrus sunrise mocktail. Try Paratarget for yourself and save 35% on your order today. Go to Nature's Blast store and enter discount code Bryce at checkout. That's Nature's Blast store to get 35% off of Paratarget. Enter Bryce, BRYCE, at checkout.